Hey everybody, Andy Kvernen here with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. I wonder if you've ever asked yourself this question: does God really like me? I mean, I know He loves me. Scripture's very clear on that. But does He really like me? Does He have a fondness towards me? And I've been doing some reading here this week that's been helpful to me as I've thought about the different ways that we view our relationship with God. See, a lot of us view our relationship with God as we receive from God. God exists in order to give us what we want, and if we ask Him, He blesses us with material things. Others of us think of our relationship with God as being over God. God creates a map and He gives us a design and He sets up principles, and as long as we follow the principles, we'll be happy and have success. Others of us think about life under God, like He's some divine slave owner that as long as we do what He asks, as long as we appease Him, He'll bless us. Or some of us think about life for God. God is some great political organizer and He's rallying us towards mission. And if we do the mission well, then we have good standing with God. And all of those things certainly reflect aspects of our relationship with God. They're not all wrong. And yet I think there's a higher value that God has for us in relationship with Him. And what I was challenged through this book is to think that God is inviting us into a relationship with Him. See, God created us and He put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and there's evidence there that God walked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day. He had a relationship with them. He rested with them in the garden, in this perpetual Sabbath rest. But of course Adam and Eve sinned, and so that Sabbath rest, that relationship with God was broken. And so God had to send His Son to die for us in order to restore that relationship. And God is working all things out in His creation to bring us back into relationship with Himself, in not the Garden of Eden, but into a new heavens and a new earth where we'll get to be with Him forever. Now in the meantime, we're working that out. What does this look like to be with God? And there's evidence in the Old Testament, it's really beautiful, where the people of Israel have obviously sinned against God. God calls them out on it through the prophet Zephaniah. But later in the book, it's a short book, 3 chapters. Later in the book, chapter 3, as God has done a redeeming work in the nation of Israel, we get a glimpse into the heart of God for His people. I want you to check this out. In Zephaniah 3:17, I'll actually start in verse 16. It says, "On that day they will say to Jerusalem, 'Do not fear, Zion. Do not let your hands hang limp. The Lord your God is,'" get this, "with you. The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love, He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Isn't that beautiful? Friends, God desires to be with us, and God is working all things out toward that end. God is a relational God. He's love, Scripture tells us. He's always existed as love in Trinitarian form. He delights in extending His love to His people. And that means that He delights in His people, in His creation. Do you wonder, does God really like me? Friends, Scripture says that God rejoices in singing over His people. Yes, He likes you. Would you, rather than trying to live for Him or under Him or from Him or under Him, for Him, instead, would you live with Him, and would you let Him demonstrate His love to you today? Take just a moment. Pause before the Lord. Thank Him for His love for you, His delight in you, and maybe you might hear Him singing over you.